a rigged economy where the rich get richer and everybody else get poorer.
We lose at every single facet.
Longer hours for lower wages.
We're going to bring jobs back to our country.
Disastrous trade policy.
Jobs are going down the drain.
Shut down plants in Flint and move to China and Mexico.
They go to Mexico, they're going to China. NAFTA.
Corrupt campaign finance system.
Bought and sold by their special interests.
The American people have a right to be angry.
We've had it. We've now had it.
This is a campaign of the people, by the people, and for the people.
Okay, wait. But why are Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump giving the exact same speech while they're essentially from different political parties?
That is a very interesting question, June. Actually, the answer is very, very simple. That's because they're both populists. However, we will show you that they also have some left and right-wing differences. As for the structure of this presentation, by the end of it you should be able to understand what is populism, what are some of the major economic, political, and social causes of the rise of modern populism, what's the difference between right-wing and left-wing populism, and also to conclude and answer some of our discussion questions. So, what is populism? We'll start by having a look at its history, and we concluded that it has a Latin root, so the word populus, which means people. However, it is not possible to fully unpack the meaning and history of the term, or even to do justice to all examples in such a short video. Therefore, we'll focus on modern populism, which is loosely defined and as post-World War II, mainly focusing on the last 2 to 3 decades. It is a very hard term to define, and in fact, in 1967, dozens of academics gathered at the London School of Economics with the purpose of defining populism, which they failed. So, therefore, we found a very interesting and possible definition for modern populism. It states that populism is a thin, centered ideology that considers society to be ultimately separated into two homogeneous and antagonistic camps, so two opposite sides, the pure people versus the corrupt elite, and which argues that politics should be an expression of the general will of the people. Having this in mind, we think it's important to define some key elements for both right-wing populism and left-wing populism. All of the following are common for both. First, we have the people, who are inherently good. Then we have the elite, that is usually seen as corrupt. And another very important trademark of populism is a charismatic leader. Usually claims to speak to or for the people, as we've seen previously with Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump, whilst attacking also his opponents and denouncing institutions. This leads ultimately to the classic accusation: elites putting themselves, corporations, or immigrants over the people's interests. Then we also have 5 key ideological elements. We have attacking the elites, emphasizing sovereignty of the people, advocating for the people, ostracizing others, and invoking at the heartland. All of these characteristics are common for both left-wing parties and right-wing parties.
Thank you, Professor. Now I understand what populism is and some of its key features. But I want to ask, what may be the cause of populism, and what are the differences between the left-wing and right-wing populism we just mentioned?
Wow, June, that's another excellent question, which I will try to explain for you. We'll spend a little more time on this slide, but if afterwards you have any doubts, then don't hesitate to consult our carefully constructed follow-up report on this topic. In general, populism is on the rise because the common people feel that their interests are not represented enough anymore by their governments. This feeling, however, has multiple causes, as we will explain. The first cause is the current political system that has been widely adopted. It is called neoliberalism, and it tries to sell its ideas as if there is no alternative. We call this TINA, there is no alternative. However, the common people don't accept this. They feel that currently they do not benefit from this political system. So what do? They follow new leaders that promise them to bring change to this system. The belief of the common people in this failing political system has been strengthened in the last decades by economic disasters like the 2008 financial crisis. The common people feel that they paid for the mistakes of the corrupt institutions and the ignorant government. These events reinforce the feeling of the corrupt elite versus the common people, which is the foundation of populism. Thirdly, we have the force of globalization. It gives the common people a feeling that they are left behind, because they are losing their jobs to low-wage countries due to globalization. Both Bernie Sanders and Donald Trump mentioned this in the video at the beginning of this video. These charismatic leaders promised to bring back jobs to the people, and that they will do this at the cost of the corrupt elite, which sprouts a lot of support. Lastly, we have a concept that resonates well with the common people, especially important in right-wing populism. It is addressing the loss of identity and culture. The charismatic leaders tell the people to stand up for what they believe in and who they are, while they promise to strengthen the immigration policies, creating support for them. So in the end, we identified 4 major causes for the currently witnessed rise of modern populism. Let's put the theory aside for a moment and look at some examples of populism in the world. We'll start off with the 2 most famous examples probably, which are Bernie Sanders, who is a left-wing populist in the United States, and Donald Trump, who is a right-wing populist in the United States. These 2 candidates were running against each other for the presidency of the United States and are both populists, although they have different political views, which is why Bernie Sanders is a left-wing populist and Donald Trump is a right-wing populist. Some other famous examples that have caused a lot of headlines is Orbán Viktor from Hungary, Jörg Haider from Austria, Erdogan from Turkey, probably known to a lot of people as well, Modi in India, and Pablo Iglesias in Spain, who is actually also a left-wing populist. After these examples, we'll dive back into some theory by explaining the differences between right-wing and left-wing populism. Left-wing populism, also called social populism, opposes capitalistic and globalistic ideas because they are seen as the cause to the gap between the common people and the corrupt elites. For left-wing populism, the corrupt elite is defined as the business elite operating in the corporate world. On the other hand, we have right-wing populism, also called national populism or right-wing nationalism, and they tend to focus more on national ideas, leading to, for example, the Brexit or the United States exit of the Paris Agreement, and it also tends to advocate more strict immigration rules, which the left-wing populism doesn't. In right-wing populism, the corrupt elite is defined as politicians, bureaucrats, and the overall government. So actually, players in the government, they are seen as a corrupt elite. Another difference between left-wing and right-wing is the definition of the leader. In left-wing populism, the leader speaks for the people, while in right-wing populism, the leader speaks to the people, which is a nuanced difference. So June, I hope this was very clear for you and you have some main takeaways, because this will definitely be on the exam.
Thank you, professors. After this really insightful lecture, I do gain some key takeaways on the issue of populism. So first of all, populism is hard to define, but we can often describe it as the conflict between the people and the elite. And also, the rise of modern populism is closely related to the historical cultural context and the modern global economic developments. And last but not least, nowadays, right-wing populism is more successful than left-wing populism. And since everybody has gained a thorough understanding on populism, I do have some questions for future discussions. So here are 3 discussion topics, and we would really like to hear your idea in the comment section on Moodle. Thank you guys for your participation today. We'll see each other next time.